All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are diving deep into what might just be one of the most exciting investment stories of this decade. We're talking about silver and the, well, perfect storm of factors that could be setting it up for an absolutely historic run.
So, let's just ask the big question right up front. Could this be it? Is this silver's biggest moment? The evidence we're about to walk through suggests that a really powerful set of forces are converging, creating what a lot of people see as a truly compelling opportunity.
For as long as I can remember, silver has kind of lived in gold's shadow. It's always been called the poor man's gold. But that story, it's completely out of date. Today, silver is a critical, absolutely irreplaceable asset with a story all its own, and it's being driven by forces that are really just getting warmed up.
Okay, so let's dig into the first, and honestly, maybe the most powerful driver behind this whole thing. The heart of the investment case for silver is a fundamental and worsening problem. There's just not enough of it to go around.
Just look at this number for a second. 215 million ounces. That's not the supply, that's the supply deficit that's being forecast for 2025. And get this would be the fourth year in a row of a record-breaking deficit. The world is literally using up silver way faster than we can get it out of the ground.
And this chart really just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got global demand that's just taking off like a rocket. And on the other, you've got total supply that, well, it just can't keep up. This gap you see here, this isn't some short-term thing. It's a structural crisis, and it's draining the world's available silver stockpiles at an alarming rate.
Now let's flip to the other side of that coin, the demand side. And this is where the story gets even crazier, because this isn't just speculative demand. No, this demand is locked in. It's essential for the industries that are literally building our future. This is the biggest difference between silver and gold right here. Only about 10% of gold actually gets used by industry, but for silver, over half of it, more than 55%, is consumed by industrial applications. And when I say consumed, I mean it's often used up, gone forever. It's an absolutely crucial ingredient for the modern world. So, demand driver number one, the green energy revolution. Every single solar panel that gets made needs about 20 grams of silver. That's just a fact. And with demand for solar growing at more than 20% a year, this alone creates this massive, non-negotiable demand for silver that's going to last for decades.
And then you've got electrification. Silver is, hands down, the best electrical and thermal conductor on the planet. Nothing else comes close. That makes it totally irreplaceable in electric vehicles, not to mention the rollout of 5G networks and even 6G after that. These technologies literally do not work without it.
And this isn't just about yesterday's tech. We're talking about the absolute cutting edge. The AI revolution that everyone's talking about, the explosion in data centers needed to power it, all of it requires huge amounts of silver for the circuitry, the components, you name it. The very hardware that powers our digital world is built with silver.
All right, so let's shift gears for a second and talk about the next piece of this puzzle, the price. Because here's the wild part. Despite everything we just talked about, this incredible supply and demand story, silver is still, by historical standards, shockingly cheap, especially when you put it next to gold.
So this slide shows something called the gold to silver ratio. It's super simple. It's just how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 single ounce of gold. Right now, it's way up there, around 92 to 1. But the long-term historical average, that's closer to 60. That's a huge gap, and it tells us that silver is seriously undervalued compared to gold. Just getting back to that average would mean a massive price jump for silver. This is what a lot of analysts call silver when a precious metals bull market gets going. It's like gold on steroids. Why? Because it's a much, much smaller market, so it tends to move a lot more dramatically. When gold starts to climb, silver doesn't just tag along. It often sprints past it, delivering way bigger percentage gains. Back in the 70s, it went up over 3,000%.
So now we've got the final layer. We have the fundamental story in place. But these next factors, these could be the gasoline on the fire. They're the things that could really act as an accelerant and ignite the price.
And here it is, what analysts call the trifecta for precious metals. You've got high inflation, which chews away at the value of your cash. You have falling interest rates, which makes holding something like silver, which doesn't pay a yield, way more attractive. And a weaker US dollar, which almost always pushes commodity prices higher. A lot of people believe this exact environment started taking shape in late 2024 and is just getting started. And here's the potential game changer.
For years, silver was kind of a niche market for individuals and industry. But now, the big money is starting to show up. We're talking hedge funds, major banks like JP Morgan, big asset managers like BlackRock. They're reportedly building up their silver positions. This is a lot like what happened to Bitcoin back in 2020, right before it went on that insane run. When that kind of institutional money starts flowing into a small market, the results can be, well, explosive.
So, when you put all of that together, what does it actually mean for someone thinking about investing? Let's take a look at what some of the biggest names on Wall Street are predicting and how you could actually get exposure to this trend if you wanted to.
And look, this isn't just some fringe theory. The big banks are paying very close attention. Check out these 2026 price targets. You've got Citibank calling for $50 silver. Bank of America's in that $45 to $50 range. JP Morgan's at 48. I mean, these forecasts all point to some really significant upside from where we are today, so this idea is clearly being taken very seriously.
Now, for anyone who finds this story compelling, there are really three main ways to play it. First, there's the physical metal itself, owning bars and coins. Then you've got ETFs, which trade just like a stock in your brokerage account and offer super easy exposure. And third, for those who want more leverage and, of course, more risk, you can look at mining stocks, which tend to amplify the moves in the silver price itself.
So, there you have it. You've got a record structural supply deficit, you've got booming, irreplaceable demand from all the technologies building our future. You have a historical undervaluation compared to gold, and a macroeconomic perfect storm brewing. I mean, all the pieces are on the board. The only real question left is, will the 2020s be silver's decade?
Please subscribe and like.